Hello, I am Amr Hashasan and this is my instructional video on how to play the piano for ENCS 282. So first, a brief introduction. What is the piano? The piano is a string instrument invented in the 17th century in Italy. We can play it just by pressing the keyboard, which will make strings vibrate and make sound. Where do we see the piano? We see most usually the piano in a concert, which may be in an orchestra or in solo, but you also find it anywhere, like in shopping malls, in airports, in schools and universities. So what kind of music can you play with the piano? Well, we have classical music, which is the reason why we created the piano, but you also have other types, such as jazz, which was very popular among African Americans in the 1950s in the US. And surprisingly, we also have rock and roll, which may sound very weird since the piano is a very calm instrument, but rock and roll is a loud and noisy music. But the piano in fact blends very well in such musics. So why the piano? Why not other instruments? I picked three reasons. So first, it's very easy to pick up for beginners. So a lot of great musicians such as Mozart and Beethoven started playing music with the piano, then picked up harder instruments later. Second, it's very respected in many cultures. So of course all instruments are respected, but the piano is seen on a league of its own when it comes to instruments, and it's very well respected. And finally, it's the centerpiece of the orchestra. So if you go watch an orchestra, usually the piano will have a solo in any type of music. So if you want to have the spotlight, the piano is a good instrument for you. So what are the main types of piano? We have three main types, which are the classical piano, the upright piano, and the electrical piano. So each of one has its pros and cons. The pros of the classical piano are it produces very high quality sound, it looks very good, but it has a lot of cons. It's very expensive, it's not mobile, you can't move it anywhere, and it also needs a lot of care. So even the temperature of the room can alternate the sound it plays. Second, we have the upright piano, which is a relatively cheap alternative to the grand piano. It plays a sound similar, but not the same quality, of course. It's cheap, it doesn't take much place as the grand piano, but it's also not mobile and a bit expensive. And finally, we have the electrical piano, which is very popular nowadays. It doesn't take much place, you can transport it with you, it's cheap, you can play many types of music, but of course the quality of the sound is compromised. So how to play the piano? Well, to play the piano, you don't need much. You just need your piano and your fingers. Like even one finger is enough to play the piano as a beginner. So when it comes to violin, you need a bow. The piano, no, it's easy. You can just use your fingers to play. So you have 6 main notes and you have five black keys. So the main notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and they repeat themselves. So their names isn't very artistic in English, which is why I like to call them in French Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, which may sound more artistic at least. We have the black keys, which doesn't have a name, they are just sharps and flats. So the more you play on your right on the piano, the higher the notes are, and the more you play on your left, the lower they are. And of course, when you start to master the piano, you have harder concepts such as chords, which consists of playing the piano many notes at the same time with both hands. So you can play 6 to 8 notes in the same time, which is relatively hard for beginners. So mastering the piano. How to master the piano? So the piano, as I said before, is easy to pick up, but it's notorious among musicians that it's very hard to master, among the hardest. So it takes a lot of time and it is basically a full-time commitment. So people that want to master the piano, they go to the university or music conservatories and they study it and actually get degrees such as bachelor degrees, master's degree, or even a doctorate degree from the piano. So summary, the piano is an old instrument, but it knew how to adapt to modern music. It's easy to play, you just need to press notes as a beginner, but of course there is harder concept in the future. So it's very fun to learn, and it's a great way to introduce yourself in music. Thank you.